there are two things that people are saying on a regular basis about you all and about you all. One is that you've been brainwashed by the left. Okay, this is part of this criticism of the university, why universities aren't doing anything positive to the world, because you've all been brainwashed by the liberal elites. That would be, people like me. I mean, not a liberal elite, but I'm seen that way, simply because just the class that I teach. And two, the school is a playground for entitled young people. It's just it's a playground, man. You're just here to play. That's what it is, fundamentally, okay? What comes to mind when you hear this? Alexis, that doesn't even land for you, right? If I say, what are the positions of this is really good. Watch this, okay? Alexis. Look, by the way, you understand, I'm not putting her down right here. I'm lifting her up because half of you would answer the following question in the same way that she is, and that's really valuable because it's really important that we don't have this idea that certain ways of thinking that everyone's politicized, like Nate here, for example, or Shahid. It's like you're not. Most college students are not, man. So, Alexis, left liberal professors, what do they think? Could you go off? Could you say? Have they brainwashed you?
No.
Do you know if they did brainwash you? What they would be brainwashing you on?
I feel like my teachers just they have the facts. I feel like they're not trying to brainwash
So
me.
are they just they're just giving you their whatever the class is? What's another class you have right now?
My math class.
Okay, you have math. What else?
I'm in a social justice class.
All right, a social justice class? Are you being brainwashed in there?
I don't think so.
Yeah? What do you talk about in there? Social justice?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to this class.
Okay. All right, similar to this class.
Well, I guess if I was getting brainwashed, I wouldn't know, right? Technically, I wouldn't know.
What do you
if I
think,
was
Jordan?
No.
What do you think Steven Crowder would say about this class?
Steven Crowder and whoever else who subscribes to that way of thinking would say, absolutely, of course, no question, right?
Wait, in this class?
No, yes, because you talk about a social science. You try to take things and look at. So these people, right? These people,
they're off the deep end. Okay.
Right.
Do you think left liberal professor though? Are you getting agenda in here?
No, there's a mix. It depends on what classes you're taking. It depends on, what it even comes down to your own philosophy about politics. I think that it's easy to sit back and put that generalization out there, but I think that a lot of the times when people who think this way hear I have a social justice class, they start salivating, foaming at the mouth. Of course,
right. They assume that you're getting a singular perspective about social justice, whereas I don't know why you're probably getting a little bit more on one side than the other side, but you're just getting information. You're just getting stuff,
And for any viewers who are watching, I would just like to say that, yes, I'm sure that there are professors who maybe are a little biased or whatever, but I promise you, we all have our own brains and we can think for ourselves. So we're not getting brainwashed. We're just taking everything that we learn and we're forming our own ideas about it.
Dude, have you ever had a far left liberal professor?
Yeah, I personally, I'm pretty down the center with my views. So I don't care what side you're on. You have every right to your opinion. Just
So you had one?
Yeah, I would say that there's one that I can say right now. I know without a doubt, and she was a great professor. I had no problem with her.
Even though she was left liberal.
Yeah,
but still, it was.
I would say that they were more left liberal progressive concepts that were being discussed in the class. However, it's if I don't subscribe to that way of thinking, I'm not going to fail the class.
Got it. Okay, yeah. Bro, what would you say about that?
Me personally, not really. I don't know if I've just been lucky or special or whatever, but at least most of my classes, there hasn't really been a political undertone to most of them. I guess the most you could say is for my health policy class, because I am interested in going into healthcare reform and stuff like that. we would debate or talk about topics that could lead either left or right.
I mean, like hunger.
Yeah, like Medicare, Medicaid.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Uninsured.
Yeah.
But well, from what even if like I believe the professor had more like maybe left-leaning perspective, there was still always they would always still mention a counterbalance to that, because they'd be like, oh, I believe this, but this is what some other people might believe as well. I feel like that's a lot what I found a lot at Penn State is like, even if a professor might have like left-leaning views, they're still most of them still acknowledge the other alternatives or what other people think or believe. And I think
you've never felt any real serious pressure.
No.
What about
not really.
professors on the right, like really conservative right-wing professors? Have you had anybody?
Not really.
So, Parker, how about you? Do you like this idea of being like kind of brainwashed by this level?
I've definitely heard this, especially when I was deeper down south.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's true. I've had professors, like I had a professor that after the election, I came into class the next day and she was like, let's just have a calm, relaxing day because I know last night was upsetting. But they're not really pushing views onto you. I mean, I've had great teachers that have been really liberal, but I don't think I've had any teachers that have been like conservative.
Well, going back to the liberal ones, how do you know they're liberal? Like what signaled that?
Probably when they have talked about politics and how great Biden was, or
How many have you had like that? Because you haven't had that many professors, so. Or how many classes, or how many, could be like me. I might make just one statement in class about Biden or Trump or whatever, and then you then it becomes. But I said we've had a lot of minutes of class, and like one 10-second statement doesn't trump all the other doesn't outweigh all the other minutes of class. So I just want to push that. Like how much? And it can be a lot. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. I just want to can you quantify the left liberal perspective?
no, not really.
Let me go back to the one who after the election said, oh, let's have a relaxing day because I know it was really tumultuous last night. Did that person, it was a she, did she then go on and talk all about how much she disliked Trump or whatever? I don't know.
No, but some of the students in my class did.
Some of the students in your class did. Did any students step up who were really happy that Trump won?
No,
How many students were in the class?
like 7 of us.
Oh, 7? Ah, okay. Yeah, that's possible. There wasn't anybody. Because people would step up mostly. Do you feel like in most of your classes you can say what you want to say?
Well, I feel like with cancel culture, like that was something that was so predominant when a lot of us were finishing high school and starting college. I feel like we especially in the world of comedy or whatever, like we're starting to loosen up. We can make jokes now and it's okay. My biggest thing is like there's things that I don't know I know that I don't know what I'm talking about. So like I'm not going to put out an arrogant opinion without me like being educated, right? So like, yeah, I definitely watch what I say in classes, like for sure. Just because I don't want anybody to judge me based on that 10-second blurb that I put out, and I might not
Right.
talk again for the rest of the year, right?
Hey,
So-
well, you've already said a few things in here that people might be judging.
Well, that's okay.
you on.
That's okay. It's our nature to judge.
Yeah.
I also just want to ask, because we're talking a lot about the left side, whatnot. Could you guys think about why some people might have those kind of criticism based on like what they see or how they may view the world or how they may view you guys in university as well? So would you think like some feasible reason of like why they might think this way, and try and understand it?
Well,
the
they've already
doctrine?
said the piece about like social media and stuff. But beyond that, so like that goes out on social media, and like boom, this is happening all over. Is there anything beyond that?
I mean, beyond like the messaging behind social media and behind like what's going out there, like we're a very divided country. We're a two-party system, and I would say that a lot of people don't fit in either party. Like, there's a lot of people who are just like, I got to pick this side because it's the lesser of two evils. But I feel like as time has gone on, and like we've been making this more progressive movement towards more inclusion, DEI, which we axed, right? So like as we've moved towards these more progressive ideas, there's people who feel alienated, as if like it was one of the articles, like with the January 6th stuff. Maybe there's issues about universities because we're pushing for the betterment of society without maybe both sides understanding what those outcomes can be.
Let me ask you this question really fast.
Yeah.
One of the deepest divisions on all of this is education, right? So we're seeing these divides that you just mentioned, right? But we're seeing one of the primary factors, is just how much education you have and whether you went to school, and what you majored in, and all these kinds of things, right? So you mentioned your friends back home who are in the trades and they're not going to school, and can I assume that most of them voted for Trump?
You can assume that 99% of the area I live in voted for Trump. That's definitely safe to say, yeah.
Okay, so what are you getting up here? What are you getting here that opens you in some way, that cracks open some of that?
In what way?
Well, you mentioned that if I go back, you go back and talk to your friends when you go back.
Yeah.
What kind of, do you have do you have political conversations with them?
Yeah, so in 2020 I voted for Biden, and that was I got my balls busted pretty hard.
You were
about
like
that.
persona non
like,
grata.
like real hard. Yeah, like I got my balls busted hard for that. And like seriously, so like these guys are my friends, and like who needs enemies when you have friends like I have? I love them to death. But yeah, like I don't think that like you could say that political party can be based on your level of education, but I mean, I know people who are in school now who have voted for Trump. I know people who aren't in school that voted for Biden. I don't think that like you're getting indoctrinated by whatever you're learning, and that's what's going to influence your voting, which I think is one of the things that people are scared about.
But did they see you as, you go up to this liberal mecca called?
Yeah.
And they assume you're getting brainwashed up here at some point.
I wouldn't say brainwashed. A lot of the times, like if I try to have a conversation about it, my buddy Callum will just be like, "Stop using your expensive words." Like I'm not really trying to, you know what I mean? He'll just be like, "Oh, you're using expensive words." So,
dude, he's not paying attention. Is he not paying attention either?
I would say so. Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
So, dude, that's you. The only difference is you're here. But the two of you really, who are not really engaged politically at all, which is perfectly fine. You're just like some of his friends from home, or the same thing, right? But you probably have some friends who are really highly politically activated back home.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, even though they're not, you don't have to go to college to be politically activated. Dude, you're Indian American? Yeah. First generation, second generation?
I'm first generation Indian American. My parents were both born and raised in India. I mean, they moved here when they were teenagers, but so yeah, I'm first generation.
How do your parents see the university in these political terms?
Politically, they're honestly they don't. The only thing they say about is just don't get involved in anything like stupid, or like their definition, like don't do anything that'll jeopardize like maybe you getting suspended or getting in trouble. They don't really see you. Because like it might be like immigrant mentality, but like they're just like I think what Parker says, like it's always like go to college, and that'll get you. Yeah. I'm also a first generation college student. Like my parents didn't go to a 4-year university, so for them they see they see some of the arguments, but to them it's not a big concern.
Yeah, it's not a concern, man. So the second criticism that comes in for you all is that this is just like you're just playing around and partying. What's your major, by the way?
Health policy and administration.
So how much partying are you doing relative to how much studying you're doing?
I mean, I'm involved in the law. I'm in a fraternity as well. So it definitely does come to some points where
wait and a party fraternity or like an honors fraternity or
yes. I'm in three. I'm in a social fraternity, a professional fraternity, and a service fraternity.
Well, so social fraternity is the party fraternity.
Yeah, that's the one. But
Wait, so the honors fraternity balances out the partying?
sometimes.
Okay, all right. So listen, how much of your college experience, your growth that's happening, your maturation, is really just playing? You're just 4 years of partying, man.
I definitely wouldn't say I'm mostly like spending these 4 years playing and partying around. Well, I'm sure they're definitely, like, Penn State's such a big school. I'm sure there are people here who just kind of go through it just to go through it, just to party and play around. But I'd say,
are there in your circle of friends?
not mine.
No, well, hang on. Then that's important. You have a big circle of friends.
I do. I mean,
So do you have anybody who's just here partying their tail off and like, yeah, they're just gonna get out of?
I mean, I know I wouldn't say necessarily like not like they're still putting in some effort, but yeah, I do know some people who like maybe might be in a major that might be a little less challenging than, let's say, like, aerospace engineering or something like that. Like,
Okay, so they're skating a little bit, but they're skating along some.
Yeah,
but-
like I'm like.
Okay, so
definitely
in other words, what I'm hearing you say to the person who says this is like, yeah, that's really an exaggeration.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say that? So that's an exaggeration? Or how much of an exaggeration is that?
I mean, I have a friend that likes to drag me out 4 times a week sometimes.
Oh wait, so you're one of the so it is a playground for you.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Well, I mean, I balance my work. Like, I always make sure it's done.
Okay, I got you. So you're doing all your schoolwork, and then when you're done with your schoolwork, you're going.
Yeah.
Dude, how about you? Can you respond to that?
Yeah, so I would say that I definitely identified with that. Like my sophomore year, I was like hitting the bar like 4 or 5 times a week. Still kept the 3.8, but like still it's a lot. I would say that definitely like people who go to college like to get down. They like to party, right? But we're also doing stuff too, especially here at Penn State. 17 million towards pediatric cancer. We don't just party. We do, and we celebrate appropriately, but there's a lot more that college students do beyond just the ruining our livers and lungs. So
it's more. So that's a stereotype.
everything is a balance, right?
Yeah.
Everything you can have excess of too much. You can have an excess of education or an excess of partying. It's what do you want it to be?
Hey, stream team, can you put one of the big side cameras on and get a shot of the whole class? How many of you don't drink? Really, you could say you don't drink at all. Raise your hands really high. How many of you? Wow, it's significant, but I would say, gee, what would you say? 10% maybe? How many of you drink but like really moderately, and you rarely ever get drunk? How about raise your hands? And don't drink. Either don't drink or you drink really moderately, but you don't. So that's closer to like. That's like 25% of the class. So, all right, here we go. You ready? Your parents, dude, watch this. Okay, you ready? How many of you really, this is like, it's a 4-year party for you. Let's face it, man. How many of you would say like, I do a lot of partying? Raise your hands. Like a lot of partying. Okay, there you go. Dude, how come it's all the frat guys, man?
As a person who's been working probably longer than I've been in school, and I came to school late, I'd say people who work party a lot more than people who are actually in college. But it's just that we're in college town. In college is it's a unique area where everybody's together and it's all students of similar age. So I feel like that sort of like misconception can be built instead of out in the society where you kind of have to seek out your own groups while in this area you're provided. So anyone next to you, you're going to be partying with. So it may seem in scale a bit bigger and more frequent.
I got you.
Yeah.
Dude, that's very insightful, by the way. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, by the way, Crash Wig from New England asks if there's a correlation between being college educated and voting left. It's not it's not so much college educated and voting left, hardcore left, but it is. But the question is, why is it so surprising that the right attributes this to indoctrination? It's not surprising to me at all, actually. Anybody who's paying attention, it's not really surprising to them, and that's the reason we're talking about it for me, because it's just like, of course they think that. That makes complete sense. But I like that statement. Hey, can we have a round of applause? Thanks, guys. Yeah.